Hey, everybody. It is 5 o'clock somewhere, and this is the ASEA/Redox 5 coming at you. If you would tell us where you are, where you're joining us from, because we have people joining us from all over the world. And it's great to be back. This is my second week back. I'm still a little rusty with this. So that's why Jim is giving me lectures. So great. Look, we've got Australia, Singapore, Illinois, Virginia, Philippines.
Happy Valley, Georgetown,
Florida.
Safe Harbor, Singapore. Awesome.
Oh, Texas. That must be my Rachel. Hey, Rachel.
Blue Mountains, Australia.
My Rachel.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, is it your Rachel? Could be your Rachel.
so.
Could be my Rachel.
There's a lot of Rachel.
Hey, Tracy. Good to see you on here. Oh, Louisa. Excellent. Do you remember Romper Room, you guys? Maybe you're not old enough. You know, I see.
I don't know that.
And Brenda. Yeah.
I Spy.
That's
We
cute.
used to play I Spy.
Somebody actually knew. Yeah. Somebody actually knew Romper Room. That's fantastic. Oh, Dr. Ray's got some fans. Fantastic.
Yeah. So
Oh, great. Well, let's get this party started. We've got a big show for you tonight, a really big show. That's another throwback. Y'all, I am Dr. Maureen Hayes from Galveston, Texas. Was an anesthesiologist and pain specialist, but now I'm a full-time Redox promoter. So we'll get into a little bit about what that means on this call. And I'm joined with Jim and Ann Glenn from San Antonio. Jim is our big money man, and Ann was and still is a nutritionist and personal trainer. And then we have not Dr. Lee, but the incredible Dr. Ray Dixon from Thailand, who is joining us, who has a number of different credentials. He's a naturopath and a chiropractor, and just has an amazing fund of knowledge. Right up there with Dr. Lee. So he's sitting in for Dr. Lee, who I believe is at a conference, correct?
yeah.
So in any case, we're blessed to have him. And you guys, we are fresh from the convention, and there's all sorts of new information coming out, new studies coming out, new science. This is such an exciting time to be a part of ASEA and to learn everything we have. And we are just going to be taking off. Also, we have the new app. And just to talk about all of this and kind of get us started is our CEO, Scott Aldred. We are so thankful and blessed to have him here. So, Scott, come on and welcome to the call.
Hey, can I say something real quick, Maureen?
Yeah.
Dang it. All right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, as an ex stockbroker who used to specialize in looking at individual companies, I've seen a lot of companies over my past 30-year experience as a stockbroker that companies would come and companies would go. And the one thing I learned from a very astute broker that I was kind of under his wing a little bit was you need to know the senior leadership of the company so you can get a feel for the leadership of the company, because you can have the best technology on the planet, but if you don't, things can change. And if you don't have the right leadership, they can jump ship, they can change formulas, they can do this, they can do that, they can yank it from the field. You know, there's all different kind of things that they can do. And so you have to trust the senior leadership. And so I just wanted to kind of throw that plug in. That's why it's really important to me that I want to know the upper management. And that's why we like to continually have upper management come on the call. So with that,
I love that. And actually, that's such a good point. And let me bring up the fact that Scott has been with this company for quite a long time. And it's amazing. You know, there's always going to be change, you guys. It's inevitable, and you're not growing. You have to, change forces you to grow. But our growth has been every, change of the baton has been in alignment. And Scott ran our production facility. He is brilliant. And I was really worried when he became president that, there would not be somebody as good as Scott to take us through and explain everything with the knowledge that he has. But actually, Hunter is doing a really good job. And I'm sure that's allowed you to take on more responsibilities with the company. And now you've gone from president to CEO. So absolutely amazing. But we're in such good hands. And the people that we have on the executive board right now, we still have Tyler, we still have Chuck, they're in founders positions. And, the people who are coming up and being groomed, most of them have been with the company for 10 years or more. You guys, that is unheard of. And that means we have a stability and people who are aligned with the company and aligned with our ethos. And, they've got our back. I feel very, very secure in Scott's hands. So Scott, again, before
Yeah.
Jim or maybe
Well,
Dr.
I was going to say something else. I love the way Scott shared. Oh, shush up. I love the way Scott, and I know you'll share your story, Scott, but how you came in pretty much as a skeptic. I just think that's fascinating for people to hear that you actually were kind of like what Tyler said in the Genesis video and Vertus Norton said in the video, oh my gosh, that's salt water. This can't be real. So with that, I love to hear your story.
Yes.
Yeah, please share that, Scott.
And I'll be quiet for a little bit.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll
Great
see.
to be with you tonight, joining you actually from my home office, which I don't actually use that often, but it's great to be with you. And as far as longevity and stability of the company, every single member on our executive committee has been with the company more than 10 years. And I don't think you can find many companies out there with that kind of stability and track record, but it also shows the level of commitment. And good thing for me is things have gone and progressed over the years. I replaced myself with somebody that was better. So Hunter Dean, who's the vice president of our production operations, he is truly a chemist. So for me, it was a hobby. And I definitely understand the technology, but to have a chemical engineer now, we're in great hands, and he's doing a great job. The interesting thing is coming off convention, we didn't stop, right? We went right back to the office, flew in Sunday, right back to the office Monday, and a lot of people came and visited, that were in the United States for the convention. So we had a lot of people that were here from different countries. And really, when you're doing something you really love and you're really passionate about it, you don't want to stop. And I will tell you, the best is still to come. We've got a few tricks up our sleeve and on some of the things we're studying, some of the things we're doing, the technology, the application. But more than anything, we are building something that people want to be part of. And we talk a little bit about become, but that's truly who we are. And to Jim's point a little bit earlier, we're as committed and have more belief than anyone else. When I first came to the company 11 years ago, I actually was first introduced 12 years ago. This is serious, 100%. I told my wife when I came back from visiting what was then SIA, hey, that company's going out of business. Just like Jim said, I'm looking at every metrics of the company and the longevity and the technology and the product. And I had come from contract manufacturing, and I thought, hey, I'm a serious professional. And so I'm taking a look at this enterprise, and I don't think they're going to make it. Little would I know that 12 years later, I would have the position that I have. And so that comes from a belief, comes from doing your homework. It comes from going 100% and looking at everything. For those of you that may not know, my track through the company is I came in as the vice president of production operations, and my specific duty was to build the Redox Center. I had built 2 FDA listed facilities previously in my career. And that's why I came. I said, hey, I can do this, no problem. Went from vice president to senior vice president of global operations as we expanded, and then to chief operating officer, then to president, and then my current role. So I know the nuts and bolts, the inside and outside of this company, like probably no one else. And for me to take that next step is, something that's very humbling, but also a great honor, because I guess it's my job not to mess it up. So we got this far. We'll keep pushing it forward. And really, it's all about the people that are on this call. I did a call a little bit earlier with some great associates in Australia. And that's why we do it, because we are developing relationships all over the world. But we have something that we want to tell people about, and that is amazing product set. I did a little quick video, we were going to do a workout video, but we didn't want to make, people feel uncomfortable. But we talked about using our products. We are products of our products. I've never missed a day in 11 years of taking a Redox supplement. twice a day. When I travel on the road, I always make sure I have enough in my suitcase to last when we're traveling. Pro tip is double bag. Okay. So put it in a Ziploc bag just in case when you're changing air pressures. That's what you want to do with your product. Use Renew 28 every day. Love the clay mask. Tip on that. If you're follically challenged, it works great on your scalp too. So use the products, share them. I've mixed CEO Redox Mind and Redox Energy for the 2 years those products have been out. Dropped about 25 pounds and was able to keep that off. So those are personal product experiences that we have because we use the products. And a lot of times when we're developing these products, we make them that way because that's what we want. And that's what we feel like will be best. So there's not anything as far as smoke and mirrors go. Everyone in the company uses the product. They're crazy about the products. But one thing I really saw at convention that is the true ethos as a company was the connection between our corporate office and our field associates to truly become one team. And I saw the interactions. It was amazing. And that was really what I was there to observe. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. What an amazing experience to be part of this company. I will tell you that personally, my commitment to this and to each one of you is more than it's ever been. I have a clear understanding at this point in my career and in this point in my life that everything does matter. Everything that you say, everything that you do, and especially the way you treat others, it matters so much. And it's such a unique opportunity to align your personal principles and beliefs with what you do for a profession. I think there's probably many of you on this call that's not the case, but it certainly is in my case, and with many of us that work for the company, it's more of a passion than a job. And it was a big experience at convention. And for those that didn't know, I've reported to Chuck Funky for 9 years. And with that 9 years of working together, you get to know somebody very well. And to see him and this transition and how much class and just professionalism he has, it's just a true honor. And then to work with Tyler every single day, his office and my office are right across from each other. He is committed. And I don't know that all of you know how hard he works. And he probably put 10,000 hours just in his opening presentation as we prepared for convention. And I just saw his commitment. And I knew he was in the office on Saturday because he called me to turn on the air conditioner because we can do that remotely and it turns off over the weekends. And so I know he pulled a couple Saturdays leading up to convention and long nights and early mornings. So that there's a level of commitment at this company that you don't often see, but it's because we know that what we're doing is something very unique. And we call that leaving a legacy. And that's really what we're trying to do. So with that, we wanted to kind of talk about favorite product uses, maybe some products that you don't really think about that much. One of that I think is all-time favorite that we don't talk about a lot is our Omega product. Truly an amazing formula that you should take every day. Never miss a day with that product. I think for me too, the clay mask, actually for those that were at convention, I told this story. We've been working on that for 3 years. And we finally had the opportunity. We wanted to try it out. We tried it out on some meetings we had in the United States, and it seemed to go really well. Now we're working really hard to make sure we can get that around the world. There is an announcement I'd like to make for all of you, because I'm on this call, is we will be greatly enhancing our NFR program to include many different countries around the world. So for those of you that have been trying to get product to countries that maybe it's really difficult in shipping there, we have been working very aggressively on shipping rates so that some of these other markets can get our products. So we're really excited about that. You're going to see that start rolling out in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And there'll be very competitive shipping rates. We're going to greatly simplify the way you can order for our not for resale products so that all our products that we make will be available. And as we get going, we'll be able to add more countries, probably going to be 7 or 8 countries outside of the ones we ship to right now. So we're excited about that. We're excited about some science. Even our medical professionals don't know about it yet, but we're truly having amazing results with some of our studies. And the interesting thing is the university partners are now suggesting studies for us, which is amazing. They're telling us, hey, this is what we're seeing. Here's what you should study next. And we've actually got universities that are approaching us to study our products. So when we talked about we were cutting edge, we were definitely ahead of our time. And so now we've got to push it forward. We've got to get busy more than anything. There's an urgency with this business. And we need to band together, do everything we can, and understand that this business is only as strong as we are when we're together. And it's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. There's so many places, in fact, I sent you an email today because somebody literally flies the product, orders it, has it come to his home, and then flies it to where his family is in a country we're not open. And, he's like, there is such a need here. And so to have that in our NFR program, not for resale, is huge because it's not all about the business. It's about helping people and getting the product to people and changing their lives. So I really commend you guys for doing that and focusing on that. That's awesome. So,
yeah, and to show you how fast we're moving, Maureen sent me a country today, and we've added it to the list. So that's how fast we're moving.
I'll call my associate. He will be so happy. That's awesome. Thank you, Scott.
I'm so tempted to ask, or will any be in South America?
Close.
Yes, I'll say yes to that question.
Okay.
Awesome.
Scott, we have a lot of people that are on this call that are new, or maybe you're watching the recording. Can you, in your words, or if you want Dr. Ray or Maureen, what are we talking about? What the flagship of the company is Redox Signaling. The bottle says it's, and I had someone say this actually yesterday. Well, it just says it's salt water, guys. It's sodium chloride in water. That's kind of silly. But in your words, can you explain what the flagship of the company is all about?
So remember, when you look at the label, we have to put the ingredients on for regulatory purposes. And the interesting thing is we've gone to different countries is even the regulators don't know how to classify the product. And Dr. Ray knows this. In Thailand, we've been working for 5 years to get the product. And I had a personal visit with the Thai FDA in Bangkok in May, and all I did is answer questions for them. And once they finally got an understanding of what the product was, they were okay. Let's move forward. In my words, the product is energy, because remember, how is it made? We take salt and water and electricity, and what we're literally doing is giving the product energy. So think of it as if any of you play pool and you're gonna break, you rack the pool balls up, and you've got your cue ball, and then you hit it with your stick. Think of a redox signaling molecule is the cue ball. It's energy, and you're gonna push it, and then it breaks all the cells. That's cascading effect. All we're doing is signaling the first cell, and we're getting that chain reaction to go throughout your body. So if I were to break it down, what is this redox signaling molecule? Very simply, it's energy. And that's what we're giving you, is we're literally giving you an energy potential in the bottle. So Dr. Ray?
I couldn't agree more, Scott. I think the analogies that we try to use to share this information will vary across the spectrum. I think that's a great explanation. If I can just add a step, and that is there is an interface between energy and matter. And this was described in Dr. Lee's book. In fact, we interacted on this very subject. And that interface between energy and matter goes through redox signaling. So it is literally the pinnacle of the pyramid. They're the deepest nano-sized molecules inside the human body, which connect from energy to matter. And it's a whole new technology. It's a whole new area of science, which is why you can't compare it to anything else, which, of course, is what we all inherently do. When we're learning something new, we're trying to look for connections to past knowledge. So, yes, it is at the interface of energy and matter. It makes energy happen. Every cell runs on it. Every cell heals on it. And every cell detoxifies on it, providing it gets adequate amounts. And that's what this is about. And we already know with age, we are increasingly more deficient in that energy and therefore the redox signaling molecules that are the interface. So we are replenishing that in the flagship products, which ASEA extraordinarily brought to the world. And this is why the mission is so important, because when we give the body what it needs to heal itself, miracles happen. And they happen all the time. And we see them all the time. And I'm sure we'll be doing the disclaimer shortly. In fact, perhaps I'd better do it now. ASEA do not claim to treat, cure, or prevent, or even participate in diagnosing any diseases. If you look up the definition of what does in the eyes of the laws of the world, including the FDA, that is drugs. So the actual definition of what does what we say we don't, because we have to, is drugs, and we're not a drug. It is natural to the human body. It is native to the human body. There is no toxicity. There is no allergenicity. So we're forced into categorizations, a little bit like Scott said regarding dealing with FDAs and TGAs of the world. We're forced into a corner. What we have is the most amazing health product that has ever been discovered in human history, which is my personal opinion. And the more we can share this, the more we will change and help people to relieve themselves of their pain and suffering. The less drugs, therefore, they will therefore need going forward. But then that's between you and your doctor. I just wanted to add that comment, if I may.
Hey, Scott, real quick, you were there when the back of the bottle stuff was done. Can you kind of go through that a little bit? What prompted the company to do the genetic study, which goes deeper? Can you kind of go over the history of that?
Yeah, the Target Lab study was a study where we were looking for transcription of genes. And when a gene is, or when cells are signaled and there's transcription happening, there's a certain type of protein that can be measured. And that's what we were looking for. That was what we call a gateway study. So what we're looking for is what are the mechanisms of signaling? And that's when we zeroed in on a fairly significant pathway of NRF2. And so then we could really see that pathway was affected. The great thing is that opened the door for other pathways to be studied. One of the things that we've discovered over time, and we don't know who set the concentration level of this product when it was being developed, but we think of it as a frequency. When I was a kid growing up in the country, we weren't close to any big cities. And so you would listen to the radio and you would have to turn the dial before you could listen to a station. And think of us and ASEA Redox just happened to be turned to the right frequency. And that was what was signaling. The interesting thing over time is we've discovered we can change the frequency and we may be able to signal other pathways by the concentration levels of the product. And so that's why there's additional studies that are taking place. And so I remember when Hunter was giving, and Dr. Andrea were on the stage at convention, they were telling people about this amazing study. And I was looking at people, they were trying to stay awake. And Tyler was giving me hand signals and he was like, come on, because we knew that, hey, this is only the first of an amazing study. And there's all these other ones coming on the heels of this that will push us forward. But what that does is give us 100% proof of cell signaling taking place. So if nothing more, if somebody says it's salt and water, you can say, here's a study. and it says it's salt and water, but it's signaling your cells.
But who prompted that study? What was it you? Was it the science team?
It was actually,
we need to do, because don't we have to be really careful here too, Scott? Because we can't be a drug.
Who told us was actually one of the universities. So
Really?
we have to do safety studies, and we have to update those. So we have to show that there's no toxicity with the product. And as we sent this to one of the universities to study, they were the one that suggested, hey, you should look at this pathway. You should look at studying this. And then, of course, our science team looked at it and they said, yeah, we can do that. And we gave them samples. And usually when you do a scientific study, they're going to run 3 tests because they're going to confirm their results. Well, when the university started seeing what they were seeing, they ran 9 tests and then they called us, and that never happens. They usually will wait, get their results, review the results, and they called the next day, said, hey, we ran this 9 times and it was the same every time. And so they've actually suggested other studies that started with the CEO Redox product, and now it's moved on to Renew 28, and there'll be other pathways studied as well. So that's who's given us the ideas on what studies to follow, is the actual universities. So that's a definite change. We've never had that.
That's great.
Poor Ray, go ahead.
But now, this also for the audience is why you will not see double-blind crossover gold standard trials on disease processes.
I'm just going to bring that up.
That's why we don't talk about the names of diseases, because of that corner that we've been angled into. But this is deeper, and it's actually more important and it's more profound, because you're getting right up at the causative level of what results in disease processes. You know, disease processes, for the benefit of the new people on the call, are 6 cells. They're malfunctioning cells. So of the 75 to 100 trillion cells in the human body, when they malfunction, eventually when a collective number malfunction, you get labeled with a disease. If cells can reverse damage and aging, for that matter, which is what exactly happens when you take redox signaling supplements, and by the way, Scott, we'll get back to some of those other material supplements shortly, then of course cells can reverse from the damage that has occurred to some extent. Therefore, whatever that malfunctioning process was reverses. Whatever that labeled condition is, therefore, you might see some significant changes. So once again, there won't be, because they cannot be, double-blind crossover trials on disease processes, because it will force the product into categories that will make it less available to the world and for you to readily have available. So I was desperate to get that in. Thank you.
Yes. The other thing is when you do those studies, if you publish them at a certain level, you need to call out exactly which molecules are in the product. And believe me, we're never doing that.
Yeah.
So we have a head start, and so we'll give some results, but we're not going to reveal the exact composition of the product. Why would we do that?
Yeah.
Right.
If I may, Maureen, did you want to say something? No? Okay. That's a shock.
Well, I was going to say some of our studies have been double-blind, placebo-controlled crossover studies, the ones that were done with the athletes by Dr. David Neiman initially, and even the Tarot study was a crossover study. But what it showed was 100% of the participants, taking our product had results, had that 21% increase in the transcription of those genes, whereas the people who were on the control, which was our saline that our product is made from, had no response at all. So very interesting. I love that Tart Lab. I know it's a gateway and I respect it for that, but gosh, that EGR1 and those 15 known pathways, if you go, if you Google Scholar, pro tip, as Scott was saying, pro tip, there's some pretty interesting stuff in there that's being affected by our product, just by taking our product.
Yeah,
but
and that's what's exciting.
What do you mean by
Keep in
gateway?
mind
You're using your language.
Oh, gateway just means it opens the door, right? They threw out kind of a wide net, and they were looking at a lot of different things, and it kind of focused in on these genes. And so, when you have that information, just like Scott was saying, now it's like, okay, let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Let's look at these other pathways. And because the universities who are doing the studies in collaboration with us are seeing this, they're giving their input and saying, hey, look at it from this angle. So listen, what is so cool is, I think, most people, I always say to my team, when you go to the counter or ticket office at the airport, or you go online, you just want to take a plane and note that you're going to get from point A to point B safely and hopefully on time. You don't want them giving you a description of, the Bernoulli effect and air, the shape of the wings and all of these things, the velocity. I mean, if somebody gave you that much detail, you'd drive, right? And with this as well, I think most people out there respect and appreciate the fact that there is real science being done. And I love the fact that we are a research and development company. One of the things I brag about all the time is that we have 3 on-site labs, 2 of them at production facility and 1 at headquarters, and real research is going on. But now we have this collaboration. But, also we were talking about our favorite products. And I think it's important for people to know the science is there. The company's got your back. We have the medical professional board. We've got a scientific team that are overlooking this. We got Scott at the helm, Hunter as well, Dr. Andre, and all of our scientists. But you guys, the products work. They're not on trial anymore. Go out, be comfortable with this. We know what they do and that they're 100% safe. So get out and change lives.
And the double-blind crossover trials that Maureen is mentioning are profoundly important. I mean, the same thing applies when you do genetic studies or athletic studies. You want to make sure it's working. So that's the double-blind crossover trial. But the point I was making is not on disease processes and the reasons that I explained, and of course Scott did as well. If I can just segue here, because I think it's pertinent, and then I'll step back as well, is regarding the materials. For the benefit of everyone listening, we need the redox signaling, the energy, as Scott has described it, for cells to function at their optimum capacity. And then you need materials. And those, I've seen it listed, it varies up to 50 essential nutrients, be it water, be it minerals, vitamins, amino acids, fatty acids, and carbohydrates, sugars, etc. So those materials are equally essential. But if you don't have the adequate amount of energy redox, then you will not get the optimum effect from the materials. When you do have the adequate amount of redox, the amount of materials you require is a little less because the efficiency levels, the metabolic level of the cells is functioning at a much higher and more efficient level. And that's what Scott was referring to earlier in terms of some of our favorite supplemental products. I use the Cell Performance products. I'm trying to squeeze them all in now because I just managed to pick up the Radiance, which helps the body to make collagen, from my recent trip to the United States. So trying to use them all is sometimes a little hard to fit them in, but they're all fantastic products which help your redox energy to be driven down specific pathways. If you're tired, use energy. If you want more concentration, use mind. If you want more memory ability, add mind to redox, and you'll get a much more profound effect. But don't forget the fundamentals that affect everything. They're in the VIA range. The source being what I see as the equivalent to the old idea of a multi, but they're all superfood sources. This to me is a mainstay. The biome to help the gut microbiome is a fundamental mainstay. The omega-3, great for memory, great for the brain, very powerful anti-inflammatory, been proven over many, many years. Again, all that information is already readily available. So don't forget your omega every day. So do make use of the materials to go along with the redox if you want the most maximum potential to achieve better health and well-being going forward.
Dr. Ray, don't skip my favorite, Life Max.
You do that.
I love Life Max. Life Max, This is cool. I mean, I love all the V line. You know, I will admit that I'm a little bit of a supplement snob. So when they came out with the V line, I was like, okay, this is for the, you know, the gummy people who are getting it at, you know, at a big box store or whatever. I was totally blown away by the quality of these products, just like Dr. Ray was saying. And that Omega, I challenge you to find a better Omega product. We were just talking before, it has, and I have a hard time saying astaxanthin in it. You guys look that up. They just kind of threw it in there. You know, they're talking about the omegas 3, the 5, and 7, and they have this incredible antioxidant just as a little perk. You know, incredible. And it's not just for your brain, your heart. It's also your joints, your skin, hair. It's a beauty molecule too. So, you know, incredible, anti-inflammatory, incredible. But Life Max, I put everybody, you guys, we're so challenged these days. I love what Dr. Ray was saying and Scott was saying, because you know what? Often people get on this product on the Redox, it's like flipping a switch, right? They've got everything ready to go. There's just one thing missing. And that's, you know, the spark plugs in the engine. You know, you got to give that energy and then everything starts working the way it's supposed to. But Life Max deals with so many things. Athletics, it's for longevity and vitality. So people who are using a lot of energy, like our athletes, they're going to get a bigger bang for their buck. And for people who are getting older, there are ingredients in there that were chosen to deal with diseases of aging. And so, you know, even things like vision, even things like bad cells, can't think of an easy way to say that, you know, those things, sugar problems, all of those are addressed by the ingredients in here. It's got some pretty familiar things: green tea extract, broccoli seed extract, turmeric, which is, you know, everybody talks about, but then it's got 5 different strains of what we call medicinal mushrooms, just amazing properties to those. And you can look them up and see what the benefits of those are. And then astragalus, you know, if you look that up and what it's good for, it has so many things. Cantaloupe, which is full of SOD, which is anti-aging in and of itself. It is chock full. And then it has astragalus and go-to cola as a combination, which helps to increase collagen production. We're all taking Radiance and we're all loving it, but it actually helps to promote the collagen production naturally in your skin as well. So you give it the building blocks, you pump up those processes. Life Max is, you know, I won't miss it. I won't go into, I take them all. And just so you know, Ray, if you kind of get into a rhythm, I get up, I take my Redox first thing in the morning, and then I take my Radiance while I'm waiting for my coffee to brew. That's in the routine too. And then I mix my energy and my mind, and I will drink that after my coffee. I probably don't need the coffee, but I'm just, you know, I like the taste. And so I take those all 3. I wait a little bit of time. You can actually mix the Radiance in with the energy in mind, but why would you? Because it tastes like candy. It's just delicious. And then, you know, then I try to get all of my nutrients on my V line in before like my morning calls. So I take my source in the morning, and you guys, I probably shouldn't, but I take all 4 at once. I just like that little extra boost of energy. But really, you want to take it with your food because it's got enzymes in it. It's going to help you break your food down. But yes. And then the biome, most people take it at night because, you know, a lot of probiotics will give them gas and a little gastric distress. This one will not. You know, take it. I mean, it's life-changing for a lot of people. And most people, about 80% of people, have some sort of bowel issue. And this one, I've not heard anybody complain about any kind of side effects from it. It's so gentle. But anyway, hope that helps. And I hope you all will get on these products, be consistent with them, because the results actually build on themselves. So the more you take it, the better the result's going to be for you. So
someone was asking about what do I mean taking materials with Redox? I don't mean necessarily taking it at the same time. What we're talking about is getting your redox signaling. In other words, that's going to power your potential physiologically to the maximum level. Then it's adding them as extra supplements like we do ordinarily. We talk about a healthy diet, organic food, because it's got high nutritional density. So supplements like this is supplementing what ordinarily we are not getting enough of from the poor diet era in which we live and the poor quality food era in which we live. So it's not saying, what we're specifically saying is add them as supplements to provide the materials that the body needs. If I can just finish, and then we'll give Scott some time here. If I can just finish by saying, with LifeMax, my background is nutrition and botanical medicine. That's what naturopaths are, as well as chiropractic. And in that field where we would focus so much on nutrition and materials, then comes that extra layer of once you've covered the supplemental vitamin, mineral, micro, macronutrient territory, then we would come into the herbal nutraceuticals at that level, the botanicals at that level, to put another layer of benefit. Some of which were traditionally referred to very much as an adaptogen or adaptogenic herbal medicines or herbs. And of course, adaptogens build your overall stress tolerance to everything. Now, again, that word stress is very important. It's not just being tense. It's anything that challenges your body is a stressor. So if you can layer up to get that extra adaptogenic effect to cope with all manner of stressors in life, you've got the edge on top of everything else. Beyond redox, I must say, that comes first. So the adaptogenics like Gotcha Cola and ginsengs and those mushroom products, these are all profoundly that extra layer of botanical that also drives your health and potential further. So just to make it simple, primarily flagship is the Redox Signaling molecules, which come in the ASEA Redox liquid supplement and the Renu 28 gel. Then we have serum, which is a more concentrated version of Redox molecules, and there are Redox molecules in the clay mask. That ends the Redox products per se. You can drive that Redox down specific pathways by all of those added VIA range products and the cell performance products. So now it's time for me to be quiet. Hand back.
Scott, I've been wanting to ask you this for a while. We have a technology that is a global changer. I mean, Vertus's vision was throughout the whole globe. We've been on the market 14 years. I've seen a lot of other companies have technologies that immediately got duplicated, replicated by someone else. That hasn't happened. Why?
Well, we mentioned it earlier, there's regulatory concerns. When you come out with a product that nobody else has, every time we go to a market, they have to do a regulatory review. There's another key factor when they classify your product. There is a tax associated with your category. So sometimes they'll just put us in a certain category because it charges more tax. And so we're limited on what we can say. The interesting thing is, we don't know why it hasn't just really taken off. We do know that there's a slower pace. It could be because we play by the rules in every market. We play by the rules as we pay our taxes in these different markets. But we are positioned now to go very quickly.
Okay, what I meant, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. We don't have any competition. Why not? Why hasn't anybody else figured out? You know that every pharmaceutical in their labs
I can answer that
blue
very
bubble.
specifically.
Yes, sir.
There are some very unique properties with our ASEA Redox. Number one, it's the pH level. That's very unique to the product because the pH level helps us control and specify the redox signaling molecules. So when we talk about balance, the pH helps us balance which signaling molecules we want to dominate with the signaling. So that's why that's number one. Number two is nobody's figured out exactly how to dilute it to stability. And when I say that is we make master batches, we make very large batches, and our rate of dilution is the solution. So that it's as quickly as we dilute the product, that's how we're able to stabilize it. That's why the product has gone from a 12-month stability to 15 months to 18 months to 21 months to 24 months to almost indefinitely, because we know exactly how to control the stability of the product. So that's why nobody's, exactly duplicated it. You're starting to see it. You're starting to see some copycats out there, but nobody knows exactly how to do it. The other part is the exact coils that we use to get the signaling molecules to be created. It's very unique. The spacing, the surface area, the shape, the distance between the anode and the cathode, that's the inside and the outside. All those are very, very unique to what we're making. And that's what's so interesting. In all my research, I have never been able to determine who was the actual person that designed the actual apparatus that creates the signaling molecules. And we've gone all the way back to the history. I've talked to people that were involved with the company before ASEA had the technology. No one can tell me who created that. And that's what's unique. And so then we've studied it and we've said, somehow, some way, somebody knew the exact design that we needed. And I don't know that Virtus in the early days knew that, but we know it now. 100%. We know the material. We know why that's unique, the spacing, the texture, the shape, the distance, all those things matter. And then there is the one final key is you have to know what exact amperage to process the product. And so all of those things are unique to ASEA. And then right on down to the stability. How do we fill the bottles? We have to have non-reactive materials. The bottle composition is very unique in the fact that it helps create a stability with the product. So all these things are part of the intellectual property. So we don't patent those things anymore because patents can run out. So all that is classified under intellectual property. So I think Alan came up with a number, Alan Noble, 218 or something. I don't know what the exact number of proprietary processes we use. It's well over 200. But all these little things add up. And exactly the way we test our labs, how we do these, every step is something that's different. So that's why nobody's duplicated it.
Cool.
It's amazing.
As a business person, when my best friend, who's a banker, shared this with me 8 years ago, I just kind of sat back and go, wait a minute. This stuff is made in Salt Lake City. Salt water sounds ridiculous, but it works because I saw it work on my best friend's kid. No one else has it. Today, we're in 33 countries. We've been in business going on for over 14 years. We have no toxicity. I mean, no competition. If you're an entrepreneurial, have a mind out there as a business person, you couldn't ask for a larger, more significant opportunity to give people not only their dignity and health back, but also their financial dignity back. Any thoughts on that?
I think the biggest thing as we look at the business opportunity is, remember, we have, as an industry, a lot of bad press. There's a lot of unscrupulous companies out there that don't follow the same path that ASEA does. And so a lot of times people will hear, hey, this is multi-level marketing, and they'll immediately turn off because they've had bad experiences before. I mean, I was the same way. I was like, I am a legitimate professional. I have gone through my career working in different companies. Do I want to risk my credentials, my professionalism in this industry? So that'll tell you the type of commitment that we have, that we believe we have something different. But we're swimming upstream a little bit on that one. And sometimes the way we approach it, we're so excited to tell people, and we actually turn them off by that. So that's why we're talking about you have several pillars, and you lead with what you want to lead, whether it's product, whether it's opportunity, whether it's ethos, whether it's community, whatever that is, you need to find what that is. And sometimes a softer approach with your heart is the better approach. And we get too excited sometimes. And I think in our enthusiasm, it may backfire a little bit. Dr. Ray's pointing at himself. So really lead with your heart. And remember that the reason people get involved in a company like this is a sense of community. They want to be with people that are like-minded, that are good people, that are trying to be a force for good in the world. That's what will attract people. And that's what will take us to the next level. The product is just simply amazing. The culture is amazing, the ethos, all these things together, but lead with your heart. And I've learned that. And somebody asked me, what's the biggest difference in your role now? I have to set aside all my professional training for 35 plus years and now lead with my heart, not my head. I got to put logic on the side, and I have to feel the hearts of the field and understand where they're coming from. And that's will be the key of leading a company is we will be driven and we will be convicted by our emotion. And that will be the biggest change for me. And that is a big change. Ask my wife. I'm not want to be driven too much by emotion. I do get emotional because there's things that I'm sensitive to, but I'm a very logical person. And luckily, my better half for 35 years is driven by emotion and kindness and by her heart. And so with that balance, it's really what I need to tap into as we move the company forward is lead with heart.
Yeah, it was lovely to see her and you both together at convention. So I was saving some of my thoughts. I was thinking about, when people are looking at a SIA, whether it's for a product, maybe they're brand new tonight, they're just learning how to use it, and maybe they don't know any more than the liquid molecules, but we have so many things that validate and back why, we have so many medical community. We have such a wonderful board of professionals. Maureen, we were talking about the Torrent Lab study. I mean, that study alone should get anybody to want to start the product if they really understood those pathways. But in that study, after the 8 weeks, the people got off the product and they went back to baseline. So it's very obvious that if you start the product, use it correctly, use enough. I was talking to a lady today and I said, I don't recommend less because of her age and the things she had going on. Step it up from the 4 that you were on to 6 or 8. And so she did, she upped it to 8 and she's excited to see the changes. But, when we were at convention, the science board and the new studies, and then, of course, the new products that came out, y'all decided to bring them out in May. We were super excited. They came out early. And now the app, we are the only ones that own this kind of app. I mean, you have all the formula to grow this business. And you may not want to grow yet, but get to know all the products. Jim and I use all 15. We don't use anything else. I have a degree in nutrition science. I know about the 4 products like the back of my hand on the nutrition. So I don't need to add anything else. And then, of course, every day we do Redox Signaling. We use at least 12 ounces a day, but we're very active. We get up at 6:30, go to bed at 11:30. I mean, we go and blow all day long. We use Renew 28 twice a day. I follow behind it with serum. Absolutely love that blue serum. And I cut myself cooking the other night. I grabbed the serum and the mask. Blood coagulated. I had no issues. Again, we're not making claims to cure, diagnose, or treat, but it was neat to watch that quickly healing. Hardly needed the Band-Aid. By morning, it was good as new. But, if you got on a budget, then stick to the flagship. But if you can at all venture into Renewed 28, get it. The skincare, absolutely love. I don't add anything else, don't need anything else. And so when we added the mask, I wanted to ask you, Scott, about the mask. And people have asked us this. I know Jim's mentioned it a couple times recently. You have the 1.3 ounce. Of course, Renew is 3 ounce. So did y'all have a reason why you picked 1.3? Is it because of that size? And some people don't use it every day, so it'll last 30 days.
Yeah, with the recommended use of 3 to 4 times per week, and only on your facial area. I know Maureen was talking about feet and other things, then that would go beyond that. The other thing is that the product is very viscous, and so we need to fill it at a slower rate with a smaller tube. So there's a functionality behind that as well. And I think as we get more feedback, we probably could go to a larger tube based on the way people are using it, because then you're in economies of scale, right? And then we would want to maybe match it similarly to Renew 28. But we also want it to be in a price range that's affordable. We've been asked already about sample tubes for the clay mask. But that's kind of where we settled on that size, was how can we fill it effectively on our current equipment? And it's proof of concept. We want to see what the field is going to use this for, and then we'll go from there. But it's an amazing product, and we're really looking forward to see what it does internationally as we're able to release it to other markets. Starting at the end of this month and into November. So we'll be in great shape.
Awesome. And
Scott,
a tip on that real quick, just because you mentioned it on mask. Sean Burke has used it on discomfort. Maybe you have a messed up ankle or doing something too much on your knee. Plus, I've seen it work on varicose veins. So try it on that too. So there you go.
My husband, if you don't mind my sharing, he broke out with a situation where he got these sores on his legs, and they were very itchy and burned, and he was using the Renew 28 and it was helping some. He was like, hey, why don't we try the clay mask? I was like, sure. We put the clay mask on it one time, and y'all, it's gone. It's not come back. So
that's your bentonite is a very powerful ingredient on its own. And so you put that with Redox Signaling molecules. It's really a very unique product.
Winning combination. Very good.
Real quick, Ray.
Scott, you mentioned at I know. You mentioned at the convention that balancing act between the material supplements and cell performance via, and of course the redox molecule included products. And it was said that there is going to be some revisiting of new products that would include the redox signaling molecules. Is there anything you can elucidate or enlighten us on regarding that?
No.
Early.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's just, we are fundamentally shifting that we have enough support products right now. And the next products that we will release will be true redox signaling products. We probably stretched it when we said powered by redox, because it was too much for people to understand. We had taken everything we learned with redox signaling and then said, okay, here's the material. And it's a redox reaction versus a redox signal. So we've shifted a lot of our research to now be 100% back in the redox signaling field. So we'll make it easier for you. The application that's available in the United States, still on beta version, but we're going to move quickly to make sure that's available globally with content so you can share really easy. And we're ready to move forward very quickly. So I guess if you're waiting, don't wait, because we're going to push.
Maureen, you want to add anything?
Well, I was just thinking, this is so exciting, and we didn't even get to the app. I mean, now we have the tools, we have the products, we know how great they are, and now we have a way of sharing it that's going to make it so much easier for people to get the information out. So, hang on to your hats, you guys. It's time to get running with this.
Yeah.
So, Scott, in wrapping it up, your forecast of where we're going, but are people that are joining right now, are they too late to the dance? I mean, is this game almost over? I mean, give some people your future of where will we be 5, 10 years? I know Virtus had to do that kind of macro planning. What's your vision of where we're going?
We definitely need more people, because we're not moving fast enough because we don't have enough people. So the opportunity is there 100%, because now we have the full suite. We have all the products. We have the application that's coming out is a very quick and powerful tool. There's tremendous resource being spent on our IT systems and infrastructure. Everything that we have today is better than we had yesterday. And everything that we will have tomorrow will be better than what we have today. So if you haven't got engaged yet and you're just getting it started, welcome aboard. We're excited for all the regionals next year as we shift convention to every other year. So we're going to come see you. So yes, my
Awesome.
travel schedule is amazingly full internationally. I have 8 international trips on the docket already. This year, I'll be going to Asia for 2 weeks in about 3.5 weeks. And that will conclude my travel for this year. But next year, 8 international trips. We're going to hit every Ascent trip. We're going to hit every event, and we're coming to see you. So it doesn't matter where you're at. We'll be there, and we're going to push hard. So get on board because we're ready to roll.
That's super. Great way to end
Guys,
it.
Scott, thank you. This has been an honor. We really appreciate your
Yeah.
time. I know you're getting squeezed all over the place.
Sacrifice. Yeah.
Guys, next week we have Dr. Andrea and we have Hunter Dean.
Wow.
We're going to
2 more.
try not to put our audience to sleep with these guys. So you do want to come back. It's amazing information. You do want to get a grasp of some of this new science. Now, Maureen, you're part of the medical advisory board, but guys, this new science coming out and
Right.
where this is going to take us, you do not want to miss next week.
Worth hearing it.
So guys, thank you. Scott, again, thank you so much. Dr. Ray, thanks for being Dr. Lee. And Maureen, as always, we love you to death. So, and obviously I love her the most. So guys, with
God,
that,
thank
God
you.
bless. Yes.
Appreciate
And
y'all.
I know Lee will have this up on Redox Matters. I'm not sure exactly when, so it'll be
Maybe
up pretty
tomorrow.
quick. So thank you. Thanks.
Again,
God
Scott.
bless.
Appreciate
All
you.
right.
Enjoy-
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye, y'all. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Love you guys. See you next week.